All right, so this is for Algebra 3-4, or anyone else that's having trouble with some inequalities and absolute value smashed into one and some more complicated issues. So, I'd like to explain this to you, hopefully in pieces that you can understand. The problem is 3 times the absolute value of 4x minus 8, that minus 4, less than or equal to 23. So, we're trying to figure out the possible solutions for x, and there's going to be more than one solution because it is not an equals, it's not an equation, it is an inequality because of this. Alright? So, first thing I need to do is I need to kind of get the inequality by itself so that I can start making sense of it. So I'm kind of, sort of treating this like as if they're parentheses, except I'm not going to distribute this 3 through. What I'm going to do is get the absolute value by itself. Kind of like I isolate a variable, now I'm just getting the absolute value by itself. So I'm going to add 4 to both sides. Right? So I'll have 3 times absolute value of 4x minus 8 less than or equal to 27. And then I got to get rid of that 3. I'm going to divide by 3. So these cancel. And I'm left with what I want. 4x minus 8. The absolute value of that is less than or equal to 27 divided by 3, which is 9. Alright? And now I've got a more manageable problem. So take a second to make sure that you understand those steps. We're not going to want to distribute, we're not going to want to disturb this absolute value yet. We're going to leave it like it is and get rid of everything else around it first. Alright? Then, what we're going to do is make sense of this problem. Tall task, I know. We have to remember what absolute value means first. So we need to go back to the root of remember what it means. Some of us just memorize, oh, it just turns it positive. What is really happening is we're saying 4x minus 8, how far away from 0 is it? Well, 4x minus 8 is less than or equal to 9 away from 0. That's what we're saying. So, to make sense of these problems, I look at a number line. I'm going to make another number line when I present my answer, but I'm just going to make a number line to make sense of my problem. That's what we want to do. So, here's my number line. Here's 0. And then again, the question with absolute value, how far away from 0 are we? We are less than or equal to 9 away from 0. So here's 9 away from 0. So 4x minus 8, whatever that is, must be less than or equal to 9 away, or it's got to be less than this distance away, because this is 9 away from 0 as well. But when we look at this, we're going to come up with two things. Either 4x minus 8 is less than or equal to 9 away, or it's somewhere in this region here, right? Because let's say like it was negative 8 away. Let's say it was negative 8 away. That would be less than or equal to 9 away from 0. It gets confusing when we deal with the negatives. Negative 10, for example. Well, that would be more than 9 away from 0. Okay? So take a second to digest that. And then, when you're done, you're going to want to write the two different inequalities from this. And that'll get rid of your absolute value sign. So we're going to go over here. And I'm going to write the two problems. So I'm going to have 4x minus 8. And I'm going to write the obvious one first with the positive value. That's going to be less than or equal to 9, because that's the less than or equal to 9 away. Or, and this is where I flip things, so I'm going to move over. Come on with me. Alright. 4x minus 8. Or it has to be greater than or equal to negative 9. Because on my number line, negative 9 is here, here's 0, negative 9. It's got to be greater than. So numbers that are greater than negative 9 would be like negative 8 or negative 7. So that's why I have greater than negative 9, because it's got to be less than 9 away from 0. So that's where my two problems come from. Sorry, can you see? Alright, so then I can solve both of these. So add 8 to both sides. I can actually do both of these at the same time, hopefully. Alright, so then I have 4x is less than or equal to 9 plus 8, that's going to be 17, which is extremely inconvenient. Divide by 4 on both sides. And we don't have to worry about switching the ways this is switched because we're not dividing by a positive number. So x is less than or equal to whatever 17 over 4 is. I'm going to leave it as an improper fraction. So what do I got? 4x is greater than or equal to negative 9 plus 8, that's going to be negative 1. And then I've got divide by 4. I've got x is greater than or equal to negative 1/4. Okay, so these are my two solutions, my two possibilities, and I would like to make a number line. So either x is less than or equal to 17 over 4, or x is greater than or equal to negative 1/4 is what I came up with. So let's look at this number line for our solution set. Here's 0. So that's what? 4 1/4? Is that what that is? I think that's 4 1/4. So let's put 17 over 4 over here. Let's say 17 over 4. We know it's positive. That's really the point here. And then I'm saying then negative 1/4. Negative 1/4 is right there. And x has got to be greater than or equal to 1/4. So solid circle. It's got to be bigger this way. Or it's got to be less than 17 over 4. And we're solid circle because it's less than or equal to. And we shade that in. Sometimes you'll have one where you shade opposite directions. And that's how that works. If you have questions, just email me. Thanks.